Merlin the Librarian, the cat who cured writer's block, the setup. Merlin was an elderly, battle-scarred tabby who had the quiet dignity of a well-read scholar. He'd been adopted by the small-town, colonial-era public library after wandering in one rainy Tuesday and declaring it his domain. His unofficial human was Sarah, a novelist working on her challenging second book. Sarah occupied a quiet mahogany table in the stacks, staring at a laptop screen that hadn't changed in 3 weeks. Her writer's block wasn't a lack of ideas. It was a wall of self-doubt. The stakes were high, her advance was spent, and the deadline was looming. Key plot points: Merlin's routine. Merlin was the library's emotional anchor. He had an uncanny sixth sense for human distress. If a student was struggling with calculus, Merlin would sit on their textbook. If a grandmother was lonely, he'd rub against her ankles. His most common target was Sarah. He would leap onto her table, curl up between her hands, and his deep, rumbling purr would vibrate through the wood, often making her laptop buzz. To Sarah, the distraction was infuriating. "Get off the keyboard, Merlin, I'm working." She would silently scream, the distraction. The crisis peaked during a week of rain. Sarah's screen showed only 3 words. The door was... She was paralyzed. Merlin chose this moment to be his most disruptive. He didn't just sit. He began to play with her tools. He batted her favorite fountain pen onto the floor, and then started attacking the corner of a torn-out, yellowed page she used as a bookmark for a reference book. He'd snag his claw on it, pull, and then look up with a smug, mischievous glint in his one good eye. Sarah finally snapped, gently but firmly scooping him up and setting him on the floor. The breakthrough. Sarah slumped over her laptop, resting her forehead on the keys. Suddenly, she saw the piece of paper Merlin had been batting at. It wasn't just a bookmark. It was a page from her childhood copy of The Rime of the Ancient Mariner. Her eye fell on a single poetic line she hadn't consciously seen in 20 years. "Ah, well a day. What evil looks and had followed me and my companions." It wasn't the poem itself, but the memory of why she loved it. It was the first story she'd read about a man who couldn't escape his own guilt. The catalyst. Sarah suddenly realized that her novel's main character was stuck because Sarah was protecting him, not challenging him. The emotional core was his hidden guilt, not the setting. Merlin hadn't been distracting her. He had been forcing her gaze away from the bright screen and onto the tactile, forgotten element that held the key. She looked down at Merlin, who was now sitting patiently by her feet, tail curled neatly. "You're a genius, Professor Pipsqueak," she whispered. She threw her hands back on the keyboard and the words began to flow, starting not with the door, but with the character's haunted eyes. The final shot is of Sarah, finally typing furiously, while Merlin rests his chin contentedly on the corner of her new manuscript pages, a silent, furry muse who knew that sometimes, to find your answer, you have to stop looking for it and start playing.